Her husband threw $100 bill at her feet like a beggar. He called her useless, told her she'd be homeless in 6 months. Everyone in that lobby watched as he humiliated her. But 1 minute later, a midnight blue Rolls-Royce glided up to the curb. The driver stepped out, not for her ex, but for her. And when the billionaire inside, Adrian Castellano, stepped into the rain, her ex's face went white, because the woman he called worthless had been secretly building something for 6 years, something powerful enough to destroy him. This isn't just revenge. This is what happens when the quiet one in the room stops being underestimated. It's the most devastating revenge you'll ever hear. Hit that like button right now and subscribe to Billionaire Bedtime Stories, because you're about to learn why the most dangerous person in any room is the one everyone underestimates. Her name is Isabella Lauron. And before I tell you how she spent $150 million on a painting, before I tell you about the billionaire in the Rolls-Royce, you need to understand one thing. For 6 years, while her husband Julian Drake called her useless, while he mocked her work, while he threw papers at her and told her to just file these, Isabella was building something he never saw coming. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the day it all came crashing down. November, New York City, a Tuesday that would end one life and begin another. The $100 bill hit the wet floor with a slap. Right there in the lobby of Manhattan's most expensive law firm, Julian Drake threw money at his ex-wife's feet. "For the cab," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Consider it charity." The receptionist watched. Security watched. 20 people watched a man humiliate the woman he'd promised to love forever. Isabella stood there silent, exactly how he wanted her. He smiled that cruel, satisfied smile. But in 3 minutes and 42 seconds, that smile would be gone forever. 30 minutes earlier, 51 floors above the street, Isabella sat in a conference room that cost more per hour than most people make in a month. Her hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white. Across from her, Julian lounged in a $15,000 suit, his $45,000 watch catching the light. His lawyer slid papers across the table. "By signing here, you acknowledge $75,000 as complete settlement. You waive all claims to Mr. Drake's businesses and properties." Isabella's lawyer, young and outmatched, tried to fight. "This is outrageous. $75,000 after 14 years. Julian laughed. "She gave up what?" "A PhD in Byzantine textile authentication." He looked at his lawyer like they were sharing a joke. "Nobody cares what kind of thread was used in tapestries from 1,000 years ago. It's useless." He leaned forward. "I took her from a roach-infested studio and gave her penthouses, private jets. This 75,000? It's charity." His voice dropped. "Got mean. She's 41 years old. No skills. No network. No value. I'm giving her more than she's worth." Isabella's eyes drifted to the painting behind his head. Large. Abstract. He'd paid $400,000 for it. Bragged for months. She knew from one glance it was fake. Worth maybe $3,000. She never told him. He wouldn't have believed her anyway. A memory flashed. Their 9th anniversary. She'd been offered a research position at the Smithsonian. The culmination of years of work. She was so excited she could barely breathe. She told him over dinner. He didn't look up from his phone. "Washington? Not happening. I need you here. Don't be selfish. Your little hobby can wait." It waited until it died. "Just sign it," Julian said. "Let's both move on. My life's going places." Isabella picked up the pen, crossed out Drake, wrote Lauron. The ink was black and permanent. "There," Julian boomed, standing. "Freedom. No hard feelings." He walked to the door, paused. "Oh, and Isabella, that blog of yours? I had my assistant check. You have 19 followers. My assistant's cat has 50,000 on TikTok." He smirked. "Just advice from someone who actually succeeded. Give it up. Nobody's reading. Nobody cares." Isabella walked out, through hallways, down 51 floors, into the lobby. She tried to call a car. No signal. Battery dying. That's when Julian appeared. "Still here? Tough getting a cab." She said nothing. What's the plan? Subway? He pulled out cash. Peeled off $100 bill. For the ride. Go on, take it. The receptionist watched. Everyone watched. This was it. The final humiliation. Isabella stared at that money. Someone's picking me up. Julian laughed. Who? Your book club friend in her Honda. Someone is picking me up. This I've gotta see. He leaned against the wall, settling in. 1 minute passed. Then 2. Rain hammered the windows. Your mystery ride's a no-show, Julian said. He tossed the bill at her feet. Call me when you're desperate. You will be. He started toward the door. That's when the sound hit. A frequency so low you felt it in your chest before you heard it. Julian stopped. Turned. It glided to the curb like a predator. Silent. Inevitable. Magnificent. A Rolls-Royce Phantom. Midnight blue so deep it looked like liquid shadow. That's gotta be one of the senior partners, Julian muttered. The driver stepped out. Military posture. Built like special forces. But he didn't walk to the main entrance. He walked directly to where Isabella was standing. Julian's confusion turned to shock. He's not going for the partners. The driver stopped 3 feet from Isabella. Looked at her. Gave a small, respectful nod. Isabella nodded back. She pushed the door open. He covered her with an umbrella. Julian's jaw dropped. But what happened next shattered everything. The driver opened the rear door, and a man stepped out. Tall, dark hair, sharp features, $40,000 overcoat. He emerged into the rain like weather was something that happened to other people. Julian knew this face. His blood turned to ice. Adrian Castellano. The Adrian Castellano, founder of Castellano Global. Net worth $15 billion. The man Julian's company had been trying to meet with for 2 years. Rejected every time. What is he doing here? Julian whispered. Adrian's gaze locked on Isabella. He walked toward her. Julian stumbled into the rain. Mr. Castellano. Julian Drake from Drake Acquisitions. I've been sending proposals. Adrian walked past him like he was furniture. He stopped in front of Isabella. Smiled. Warm. Genuine. Isabella. I trust everything concluded satisfactorily. Isabella let out a breath she'd been holding for 14 years. Yes, Adrian. It's finished. Good. Then let's get you out of this weather. Your new life is waiting. Julian stood in a puddle. Soaked. Isabella, you know Mr. Castellano? How? Isabella turned to look at him. No anger. Just pity. You never asked about my work, Julian. Not once in 14 years. Your work? Your blog about fabrics. That's when Adrian acknowledged Julian. He turned slowly. His gaze was a force. Mr. Drake. You are the man who called my chief authenticator's research dead people's curtains. Julian's mouth opened. No sound. You dismissed the most brilliant art forensics expert I've ever encountered as a housewife with a hobby. He stepped closer. Julian stepped back. And you just offered a parting gift to a woman who, as of 9 a.m. this morning, has a budget of $300 million. 300 million. Julian went white. Isabella, Adrian said, turning his back completely. We'll miss the flight. He guided her to the car. The door closed with a vault-like thunk. The car pulled away. Gone. Julian stood alone in the rain, looking at the $100 bill in the puddle. He'd never felt so small. Now here's where it gets interesting. Here's where you learn that what just happened, that wasn't the revenge. That was just the opening move. The real game started 4 years earlier, and it was so much more devastating. 4 years before that Tuesday, Isabella and Julian still married. On paper, perfect. Penthouse, galas, jets. But every night, while Julian was out working late, Isabella sat at the kitchen counter with her laptop. Julian thought she was wasting time on her stupid blog. He was catastrophically wrong. She was on verification. Private. Encrypted forum. Where she wasn't Isabella Drake. Forgotten housewife. She was I_Lauren. The most respected authenticator in the underground art world. It started by accident. A user named _Castellano posted images of a 14th century Byzantine silk fragment, authenticated by auction houses, museums bidding millions. Isabella analyzed it for 72 hours, then sent a message. It's a forgery. The silk is real, but the gold thread is 19th century French. The weave density is wrong by 3 threads per inch. Look at the selvage edge. 3 days later. You just saved me $18 million. Who are you? That was Adrian Castellano. For 4 years, he sent her impossible questions. Is this authentic? Is this real? Her useless information was saving him millions. Someone who listened, who valued her mind, someone who wasn't Julian. But here's where Isabella became a chess master. 6 years into the marriage. Company party. Julian drunk and loud, bragging about deal with Helix Capital. The beauty of it is nobody looks at the boring details. He saw Isabella, scoffed, tossed a stack of ledgers at her. Here, file these, just numbers. Simple enough even for you. And Isabella, who could spot a 500-year-old forgery, picked up those ledgers and looked. The fraud was everywhere. Offshore accounts, hidden liabilities, very illegal. That night, she bought an encrypted USB drive, hid it in a hollowed-out book. And for 3 years, every time he mocked her, every time he threw papers at her, she added another line to her spreadsheet. She called it the Drake Tapestry. Every transaction, every fraud, cross-referenced with his calendar, his receipts, his phone records, evidence so complete it would unravel his empire. But she didn't send it. Not yet. She was patient. 18 months before that Tuesday, Adrian sent a message. I'm opening a foundation. I need a chief authenticator. Budget $300 million. Salary $2 million annually. I want you. Isabella stared at it for an hour. I'm married. Are you happy? Silence. I can't leave. The divorce would destroy me. Then don't leave yet. Get everything ready. When the time comes, call me. I'll be there. 6 months later, Julian announced he wanted a divorce. Met someone younger, more exciting. He expected her to beg. She said, okay. He was thrilled. Called his lawyer. Offered $75,000. Expected her to fight. She signed immediately. Julian thought he'd won. The morning of the divorce, 9 a.m., Isabella called Adrian. It's done today. I'm free. Good. I'll pick you up at 2. The jet's waiting. Your new life starts today. And the other thing? The Drake Tapestry goes to the SEC tomorrow morning. Anonymous. By the time he realizes, it'll be too late. Isabella smiled for the first time in years. 2 days later, Julian's office. Phone rings. His banker. We have a problem. Helix Capital's been acquired. By who? Castellano Global. They're liquidating. They've called your loan. All $600 million. End of quarter or they seize everything. Julian's company collapsed in weeks. Partners sued. Investors fled. Penthouse sold. Car repossessed. Girlfriend gone. 3 weeks later, Julian found an old photo. Company party from 6 years ago. He's there with champagne. And in the background, Isabella on her laptop. That night, he'd been bragging about the Helix deal. The creative accounting. Hiding risks. He thought she was checking email. She'd been documenting everything. For 6 years. Every word. Every crime. And fed it to Adrian Castellano, who used it to dismantle Julian's empire. The $75,000? That wasn't weakness. That was theater. She didn't want his money. She wanted to watch him lose everything. 6 months later. Christie's auction house. Julian's there as a ghost, begging for a guest pass. The centerpiece. The merchant's daughter. Possibly a Vermeer. Bidding's insane. 60 million. 90. 120. 150 million. Sold. Room explodes. And now, from the buyer, the Castellano Foundation. Julian's heart stops. Isabella walks onto the stage. Transformed. Tailored suit. Radiating authority. Thank you. Our forensic analysis has confirmed this as an original Vermeer. It will be the centerpiece of our new public gallery in Geneva. She just authenticated one of the most valuable paintings in history. Julian's in the back. Invisible. He wants to approach. Starts walking. Security stops him. "Sir, maintain distance." Isabella glances his direction. For a fraction of a second, their eyes meet. Her eyes move through him. She doesn't recognize him. 14 years. And she doesn't know his face. 5 years later, Geneva. Isabella stands in her gallery. Adrian walks up. "Any regrets?" "No. He taught me the most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate someone." She smiles. "He wanted to destroy me in one afternoon. I took 7 years to let him destroy himself." "You didn't destroy him. You revealed the truth." "Exactly. I'm an authenticator. I reveal what's beneath the surface." He told me I studied boring details. But those details? They catch forgeries. Whether it's a painting or a person. Somewhere in New York, Julian Drake sits alone in a small apartment, scrolling through pictures of a life that was never really his. A forgery he built. A masterpiece he destroyed. The greatest victories aren't loud. They're quiet. Built over years. Thread by thread. By people everyone underestimated. Isabella won. Not because she destroyed him, but because she finally became who she was meant to be. So was Isabella's revenge justified? Drop your thoughts below. If this gave you chills, smash that like button. Subscribe to Billionaire Bedtime Stories for more stories like this every week.